morning, everybody. Back in the car, and ahead of you is Rumster Forest, and beyond that, if you can just see, I think slightly to the left-hand side of the video, just on the horizon, you'll see the sea. Now, what have I got to say? Remember a Bob Dylan quote again. Back to the Bob Dylan quotes. Something on the lines of that he found himself having less and less to say. I don't know what he was talking about at the time, but I can empathise with that feeling. You folks who listen to these videos, thank you very much for watching them. I mean, if you enjoy them, that's great. For the life of me, I actually don't know why. I do play them back to myself, and well, I'm not overly impressed, I must say. There was a spell between the latest video I put out, which was yesterday, and the ones before it, and a few messages came through asking if I'd stopped making videos, and it was very nice of people to ask. The answer to that question is I never know whether I'm going to make another video or not. I do question my motives as to why I am making them. I suppose, well, honestly, somewhere in the back of your mind, you think I may say something that actually sparks people's interest, and I may end up with tens of thousands of subscribers. And yeah, that would be quite cool. I'll have a Patreon account. I'll buy a £1 million yacht. I'll sail the world, living off Patreon's money. I'm an old man. A bit late for that one. I mentioned that one yesterday as well, regarding the zombie apocalypse. It all seems to be unfolding a little bit late for me. Actually, that reminds me of a song by, I don't know if it was Rod Stewart who wrote it, but it was something on the lines of, I wish that I knew then what I know now when I was younger. Something like that. And yeah, I can empathise with that one too. The problems. I don't have a lot to say. I can tell stories from my past, and yeah, it's fun, and I don't mind doing it at all. And I think you folks actually like listening to them. But I don't feel comfortable with just doing that. It's a distraction. No, maybe not to you guys. To you guys, it may be just normal everyday life. To me, it's a distraction because I see so much stuff going on around me. The zombie apocalypse. My life becomes almost like a fantasy world, and this is why I don't like leaving home. I have to go virtually every week. I have to go away for a day and a night, and I don't feel comfortable doing that. Because things that happen and things that change when I'm at home are manageable. We live in a wonderful area. Things happen slower there. And should we say there's more non-compliance in that area. And this gives you more options. And I think that's actually, if we split it right down to harsh realities, where we live gives us more options when shit happens, and there's a hell of a lot of shit happening, and that shit affects people in the large urban areas far more than it affects us. And I don't like being down in those areas, which is where I am when I go away. I'm in a large urban area, and there are resources for the law and enforcement. There's not the same resources where we are. And quite frankly, the shall we say, the law and the enforcement agencies in the areas where we live are more understanding of the demographic, shall we say, to try and keep it very practical. So, more options. And back to the videos, why and will I and won't I? The problem is that I'm surrounded by people who are sleepwalking or they're dead. I don't know which. Zombie apocalypse scenario again. You can talk to them about things that are important and they can go, yes, you're right, I hadn't thought about that. I've mentioned this before. The next day, they don't remember that anymore. A very nice fella who's a road haulier, I won't mention his name, he admitted to this himself. He came to me like a puppy dog saying, have you seen? I think he was referring to Russell Brand and the allegations against Russell Brand. I'm not going to make any comments on that other than the following, I think, two. Number one is that, for goodness sake, everybody, whether we like it or not, and that is largely irrelevant, whether we like it or not, people must be seen to be granted the right to be innocent until proven guilty. That has to be. Otherwise, we are a lynch mob, which suits the purposes of the authorities, of government, of the movers and shakers of our new world. But if you become a part of that mob, I used the word anathema, I think, in one of my videos. If not, I'm about to use it now. If you do that, then you are anathema to me. Now, of course, that's irrelevant to you. I mean, who the hell am I? And who the hell am I to say you're anathema to me? Well, I can say that. But think about it. And think about what would happen if you were the object of that lynch mob and you'd done nothing. Maybe you have done something, in which case, fine, that will come out. But if you haven't done anything and you are the object of a lynch mob. So, that's the first thing that I would say. And the second thing I would say is that Russell Brand was never somebody that I was particularly took a liking to. In fact, I took a disliking to him in his earlier days. In the more recent past, over the past number of years, a few years, I have listened to things that he said. And I have to say that he's kind of behind the times, behind the curve, behind the ball. What he talks about, well, you know, I and many others, we already know that. We've already talked about that. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because Russell Brand has an audience, and that audience may not know that. So the fact that he's saying it and reaching an audience, well, that's good. So whatever comes out over the following months or years, whatever comes out about Russell Brand, it has to be said that what he's telling about what's going on is certainly true. It's certainly not original to Russell Brand. Not by a long shot, but it's true. Now, I'm going to set off driving. And I may talk on a little bit further. So, making the videos, I really haven't got an awful lot to say. There's a lot going on in my head, but trying to make any coherent sense of that, and to speak, either sitting in my shed or driving a car, I find it very difficult. I find it very difficult to be coherent and to keep continuity. Maybe that's why meandering was a good name for the channel. Anyway, back to making more videos. I feel I'm just filling in time for people. I'm becoming one of those who put out content that's changing, probably or possibly, potentially, irrevocably, the society that we're living in. Yeah, it's good to have a distraction, I suppose, but I don't want to distract people from it. That's the problem. I understand the need for distraction. I have distractions, but I know what the hell is going on. I'm aware of it. I'm awake to it. So the distraction, I'll just deal with this car, which is also being a distraction. We'll just go around in this parking space here, this passing space rather. Just a second. Thank you. Yeah, and that's okay. That's one thing, but I don't want to be a distraction that stops people facing, becoming aware, and seeing what is going on. I don't want to be that person. I mean, I said to my wife, I'm going to change the channel's name to the BBC, so I could start by saying, this is the news from the BBC. BBC being bullshit, bollocks, and compliance. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, probably not. And again, what is it? To salve my conscience? I don't know. Anyway, this is why I have increasingly long periods of time between the videos. Not on this occasion, if I put this video out. I play these videos back, and as I've said, I'm not overly impressed with them, not at all. This will possibly be the same, and I'll say, no, that's been deleted. But this is why there's a time between them, because I'm dissatisfied with what I'm saying. The stories I'm telling are interesting, they're funny, and they're all true. But I don't want to be a distraction from what is happening, because what's happening, it's... Does anybody remember the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers movie? It was in black and white, I think. It starred Donald Sutherland. That has to be the one that is remembered, not any of the remakes. The original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Now, I'm not going to give any teasers, and I actually can't remember it very well, to be honest, but the end scene, the final scene in that movie was absolutely chilling. Absolutely chilling. I feel I'm living in that world. Now, of course, I'm batshit crazy. Just a second. I think I'll have to go back a wee bit here. Here we go. Let this guy past. Bear with me a second. As I said, I'm batshit crazy. I can't remember what the point I was trying to make about was with that. No, I've completely lost my thread. So, with that, I suppose I ought to just end this video. What is it? 13 minutes of me saying I don't know if I'm going to make any more videos, because I don't want to be the person that distracts and provides innocuous distractions. One of those people who this person could achieve greatness, but unfortunately can't be bothered. And it's not that I can't be bothered. It's just that there are plenty of people saying things that need to be said. So why do you need another one? And if I just give you a nice distraction, tell you nice stories, then I'm distracting from people waking up. And again, here we go. Backwards. I was going before there, going backwards. Rightio. This is a very busy time. Yeah, I don't want to be the person that provides innocuous distraction. Because, believe me, that's an awful statement. Before your eyes, your world is changing, and you, in your fear of change, of losing comfort, in fear of what you know is happening. You all know change is bullshit that's going on. I mean, some of you turn around and say things like, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, you've nothing to fear. Bullshit. Total bullshit. You get into times when you won't be able to say what you think if it is not following the narrative. I mean, we've already been there. I mean, the past number of years. I mean, I have been shouted at, not abused, verbally abused. People have tried to humiliate me. And it's not just me, it's loads of people. The media did not dare. Well, did they dare, or were they just completely compliant? Oh, fuck knows really on that one. What's happening is real. You know it. Delve into it. Understand it. What should you do about it? Start talking about it openly. Make nonsense bloody YouTube videos. The more people making nonsense YouTube videos saying this is bullshit, then the better. So make your own videos. I mean, I may never get 1 million subscribers, but if 1 million people start making bullshit videos on YouTube saying this is bullshit, that's as good. As far as I'm concerned, that's good enough for me, because somebody's going to bloody well notice, aren't they? I mean, we've even got discrimination now on the social media. I'm not making any pointed statement about this, but since the Russell Brand issue, I understand a lot of people have moved over to watching him on Rumble. And a lot of the people from YouTube who've started watching Rumble are saying, I never thought I would go to Rumble, but I will to watch Russell Brand. And people who have been already watching on Rumble are saying, let's welcome the something effectively saying the ignorant masses. Maybe they'll learn something now that they start to use Rumble. I mean, we've got this all the time, this division. The clever people, the stupid people, the compliant people, the non-compliant people, the vaccinated, the unvaccinated. Remember the old rule, divide and rule. Now, I'm not saying we should all come together. I think Richard Vobes, Richard is sorry to be familiar. Richard, sorry about that. My apologies, I don't mean any disrespect, but he's a really nice guy. And I think he's beginning to understand now that we're not all going to come together in some beautiful, wonderful group of people walking up to Parliament and saying this ends now. That's not going to happen. Because people are fearful of change. And yet you're living through change. For goodness sake. I mean, what are we going to have? Years and years ago, decades ago, I spoke to people about the urbanisation of the population and how it was actually a plan by the government, not just of the UK, but it was a plan, a world plan, to urbanise the population. Because if you urbanise them, and I think at one point I said they'll build effectively large shopping centres with living accommodation in. We will live in there, we will spend in there, that will be it. Because we're easily controlled and surveyed in there. Well, that's where we're going, isn't it? All these conspiracy theories from even decades ago, it's unfolding. The problem is that these guys read bloody science fiction books, which I love, by the way. Oh, loved. I don't read much now. I'm an old man. I've seen too bloody much to want to read anymore. But they read too many science fiction books, and they're trying to make it happen because it'll be exciting. For God's sake, we can all go off and get zombie warrior brides and live happily ever after slaying demons with our benevolent zombie girl or zombie boy or vampire boy, cute vampire boy. We can do that. We can live this bloody fantasy. Jesus, do we need to live a fantasy when we live in such a beautiful place, a beautiful planet? I mean, goodness me, we're in enough danger existential danger from the fact that we're hurtling through bloody time and space. You know, and there's lots of rocks out there that could hit us, and we've got a bloody great big fire up there in the sky that spits and sparks and splurts. I mean, Jesus, really? Come on. I mean, we are absolutely blessed to experience this thing called life. However hard life gets, and yes, it does get bloody hard sometimes, and yes, I have had it hard sometimes. I really have had it hard sometimes. However bad it gets, the experience of being able to see this around us, blue skies, clouds, rain, green, mountains, rivers, seas, life, to see all this around us, it's a bloody privilege. We ought to stop playing games and fantasizing and wanting to live in a bloody zombie fantasy and just live our lives and love our life. Anyway, that's all I've got to say for now. Yeah, leave your dislikes below. Leave the comments section empty. And we'll see if I make another video. We'll see if I even put this video up. That will be interesting. I don't even know the answer to that question. Anyway, bye-bye for now.